Yes, this is my bike. It is a Pashley. It's probably about, which is an English bike, manufactured in England. I think it's manufactured where Shakespeare is from. Anyways, I normally ride a vintage three-speed Raleigh. That is that is my bike, and this is my good bike, my fancy bike. I started biking in Chicago in 1992. I fell into a group of young people, kids, who had just graduated the MFA program at the School of the Art Institute. They all lived in Wicker Park. I did not live in Wicker Park. I've lived in the Lakeview area since that time, 91. And they were bike riders. And they used bikes for commuting. And I don't know how to drive a car. So my mode of transportation has been all my life walking, taking the train, and the bus, because I grew up in Oak Park, River Forest. And that we're so close to the train, the L trains. And so my life was in the city, even as a teenager. And so that's how I thought of getting around, was public transportation. Well, I would be curious about if those people who live in Chicago or say they live in Chicago, did they grow up in the city? Because the Chicago encompasses many people. It's the Chicago land. And Oak Park is a community that was developed before cars. I mean, trains, streetcars. Not that people don't drive cars in Oak Park, they do. But the physical space is, um, it's old. I mean, old for the US. Uh, and, um, and so, in a way, it's kind of an extension of the city, but it's not really the city. But it has echoes of the city. And my parents were not, um, they wouldn't have let us borrow their cars. And I loved taking the train. I, it was cool. It was city life, and that's what I wanted. Everything. I'm not that I don't. I mean, because I still take the trains and I still take the buses. So, and I still walk. And public transportation to me is the gateway to cycling in my mind. I mean, you think of all the strong, healthy bike cities, they have strong and well-used public transportation. And I think that there's a relationship between that. Well, I like the mix. I like the mix. You can't get everywhere with your bike. You can get a lot of places on your bike, but not everywhere. And and since I was, first an active public transportation person, and then I've traveled a lot to the bike capitals of the world and biked in those places. It That's what I see.
like about biking in Chicago? Obviously, you've done it for a while. You have a few bikes. What's kind of your favorite thing?
Um, I love the pace of cycling. I love being able to see the city. I love the architecture and the character of Chicago. And I told you I'm 60. And so Chicago's changed a whole lot since I was a teenager and was spending lots of time. Places that you wouldn't think yeah, it's changed. Like even Lincoln Park, which is so like fancy. I lived through the pre-gentrification of Wicker Park in Bucktown, and I just like being on the street. Of course, I don't like the cars, and the cars have changed. Um, and this is nationally the how big they are, how aggressive they are. I think the size really reflects the embrace of the SUV. Really embraces it. It's a symptom or it's an expression of how Americans feel about their life and how they move around in the world. It's kind of negative, I will say, but why do they embrace it? They want to be in this hostile bubble. To me, that's how I see it. Well, if you read the studies, big, big vehicles uh, are more dangerous to pedestrians and cyclists. They're very dangerous. That's why the death toll for pedestrians and cyclists have, I think, skyrocketed. Also, I think something happened during the pandemic in a way. I think that people um, started to, this like this aggressive edge. I'm not sure. Um, I loved riding during the pandemic. I don't know if you did that a lot during that blissful. I mean, it's so sad because it was a terrible thing, the pandemic. But as a cyclist, you kind of claimed the streets. There was so much less traffic, and it was you didn't really have to worry about cars because they weren't out. It's it's not worth the cause of it certainly, but it was great to bike. Um, you were it was so much safer and more relaxed. Well, I think generationally, uh, as somebody who's 60, I think that the way that younger people have embraced cycling is hopefully they're going to use, it be a part of them for the rest of their lives. Like that it inspires younger people to cycle and see that as a form of, it's a viable commuter transportation. Because I like to see it as not a form of exercise, although it's fine that way. But I wish people used it as an everyday um, way of getting around the world.
Thanks for watching that interview. Subscribe to see more conversations with Chicagoans biking around their city, dropping every other week.